Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode we had the draft and re-sign stage, and we managed to maintain our roster, which was kind of a bit of a surprise because I wasn't expecting us to be able to maintain like our defensive core, because a bunch of them were up for free agency this year, but we managed to maintain the team, which is pretty awesome. So right now we have obviously Ekholm, Bickle, Vernarski on 4. We have Marsh, Blunden, Bohms, Harrison, Leclerc might end up making it. Depends if he gets some growth or not. And we also have Zajac, who will probably be in the AHL still, but he is getting close as well. Right wing side of things, we got Bulbrook, Kavusari, and Aidan Irving, which is awesome. Aidan Irving obviously coming back for another year. I would expect him to be kind of like a fourth line option at worst for us. If he's a depth forward or listed as a depth forward, that's a bit questionable, but I still would probably prefer him being in the lineup over somebody else. So we'll see what he ends up doing this season. He had 28 goals this season, which is our last season, which is still pretty good for his age. So I'm expecting, since he should be maybe getting still some power play time, I'm expecting maybe at least 20 goals for him again, but obviously he is definitely on the major decline. So yeah, that's basically what our forward group is looking like at the moment. We have also Bryson Waters, who's currently in RFA, who's going to need to get paid some money. We also do have one more other guy, that is Holmquist. He's also going to get paid some money. So the two of those guys will also be on our NHL forward group. So our forward group's pretty much set in stone. We don't really need anything, which is nice. From a defensive standpoint, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we could probably use another top 6 defenseman maybe, just because Clarkson, I mean, he actually is listed as a top 6, which is interesting. I mean, we could play Clarkson, and then we could have one of these guys as a depth defenseman like Fawcett, probably because he's 23 years old at this point. But there is also Kopecky, who would be coming up. There's Gustafson, who should be coming up. So maybe we just wait and see what happens with the development on the defensive side of things. So I think we're fine on defense too, which means I think the only thing we really need going into this offseason is a backup goaltender. Just because Kalinin obviously kind of needs somebody to kind of maybe like push for that starting job. Obviously, Kalinin was pretty good last year when he was in the playoffs. He was not super good during the regular season, as you can see, with an .888. So his save percentage was not good during that stretch, but in the playoffs, he was actually pretty good. So obviously, it would be good to probably find another goalie that's maybe like around the 82 range, 81 range to play alongside him. And that way we have a little bit of internal goalie competition while we wait for like guys like Barrable and also Lynch to end up making the NHL. But anyways, before we get into free agency and starting up the season simulation, let's get into the one and only comment we got, which is from Saturn Otaku. It says, Fairchild developing as he did was not something I expected. The very definition of a late bloomer. Pick whoever as a backup goalie. The only player on the trade block I saw was Nikolitin on Montreal as a depth forward candidate. Thought it might be too much, though it might be too much to bring him in. Make Backer and Ekholm alternate captains if they aren't already. If Irving retires at the end of the season, promote whichever has been with the team longer to captains. So with the captain stuff, he's saying to basically go to either Backer or Ekholm, which is interesting. I don't really know who's actually listed as the alternates right now. We'll have to take a look at that at the start of the season. But honestly, I have no idea who would be listed as alternates. I think Ekholm could be considered already an alternate. I'm not too sure if anybody else, like Vandermeer actually should have a letter technically. I know he's not technically a leader on this team, but he's been with this team the longest out of the bunch of players on this roster other than Aidan Irving, I think. I would like to give him a letter for sure at some point, probably over, I would say over Backer. But then again, Backer's been here for quite a while as well on the side of, defensive side of things. Like he's been a kind of a rock that has been beside some really good defenders in the past. Like he's a career plus 200 almost, like 193, which is pretty good. So maybe we want to make Backer an assistant captain at some point, but I'm not too sure if it is yet this season. But he was saying to bring in a backup goaltender. It doesn't really matter who. So let's go back to the free agent market, because I honestly don't remember which goalies are available. So let's see if we could find somebody that could complement Kalinin quite well. So there is Maximus Nasha we had already, but we might just go based off save percentage, to be honest. Which Jimbo Hinsky was pretty good last year, but I don't think I want to bring him back necessarily, just in case. Who was the other one that was really good that I saw? We had a 921 from Ilya Bobrovsky in the AHL is really good, but I don't think he'll do that in the NHL. Filatov was also in the AHL as a 914. Maybe Bohinski actually could be the best option from an actual NHL goalie. Most of these other guys were in the AHL. A 910 is listed as a backup, but is not in the NHL. Yikes. 29 years old and has only played a little bit of NHL experience. I'm trying to see if there's anybody here that would be good. So yeah, looks like maybe Bohinski actually could be the best option because he was in the NHL and he had over a, what was it, over a 910 save percentage. So we might bring back Bohinski, but when he was with us, he wasn't super good, like only a few years ago. So I don't know if that's a major risk or not doing that. Jean Dagenet as a backup would be also pretty good as a 910 guy. And then there's Laurent Demers, 884. And then Maximus Nash, which I don't want to bring back. So, yeah, I guess we might go for Jean Dagenet, considering he technically was the best overall. Also had a relatively similar save percentage to Bohinski. So he probably would be our backup option to bring in. His career has been kind of a mixed bag, but he's had some really good years like in the AHL as well. In his playoff experience, he was good too. So I think he might actually be an okay option. Is there anybody else in terms of the trading block? I don't remember what was on the block. I don't think there was anything on the trading block really, but who was the guy that Saturn Taku mentioned? It was like a depth forward that we could bring in it, but it would cost us too much. It was Nick Alishin on Montreal. I do want to take a look at the value on that guy. Nick Alishin. Oh yeah, his value is a little bit too high for a guy that's probably not going to pan out. Does have some good stats, has okay passing. No, I don't think he's going to do much at the NHL level. Oh yeah, there was Lacerte too, technically, but he was pretty bad last year in the AHL. But a few years ago, this guy won a Vezina Trophy in Seattle, which is crazy. So he would be a good backup option, but at the same time, I don't really trust him at his age as well because he would drop off quite a bit. Trying to see if there's anybody else I would bring in as a backup via trade instead. We know that there's a lot of former players on the block, including Fairchild, which he mentioned because Fairchild was a little bit of a late bloomer in his career. Logan Scarlett as a backup would be kind of funny to bring him back, but he's listed as a starter. Still signed for one more season after this as well, so let's see. I don't remember who else was on the block. Is there any other goalies, or are we going to go after the 80 overall guy? Like, there's some good players, but I don't really need to upgrade my team that much. Like, we already have a good forward group. The defense, of course, should be solid enough. It's just about locking down that backup position spot, which there only seems to be that one guy in free agency that we want. He's the best backup goalie available, too. So, if we could bring him in, I think that should help us out a little bit. There is also, like, Kim Rodin. I do think I remember seeing this guy win Vezinas in the past, but he's definitely dropped off a cliff so much. But he is still listed as a starter. Had a terrible year last year, but he's had some really good years in the past. Has he ever won a Stanley Cup? No, he has not. Wow. He's probably going to drop off further, my guess. But he's still decent. But that's the only goalie that I would probably go for on the block. So, yeah, let's go to free agents and sign that 80 overall goalie. I think that's what we're going to lean towards doing. Signing up Mr. What's his name? Let's sort by overall. There you go. Laurent Demers, right? Or was it Dagenet? It was Dagenet, yeah. Jean Dagenet. I knew it was the French guy, but I didn't remember which one. So he wants 2.2 for a year. We'll just give him a little bit more money because we do have the cap flexibility right now. So let's just do 2.6 for a year as our backup goaltender. And hopefully he puts up similar numbers to what he did last year as a member of the Edmonton Oilers, because that would help us out a lot, having two solid goaltenders. So that would be the goaltending addressed. We don't need any defense. We don't need any forwards, really. Because we have, how much forwards do we got at the moment? Because I got to double check that first. Because I don't really want to use Aidan Irving as a depth forward. So we got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10 or so. Yeah, we might need some depth forwards, actually. I need to redo that math again. So there was two guys here that were holding out. So 4, 5, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We could technically be using Baker and Cutler as depth forwards. So technically we'd be at the 14 then. I think we might be okay in terms of forwards. We might bring some in at the start of the season, depending if we won't actually use Baker and Cutler as depth forwards, but I think we're ready to start simulating. Did we need any coaches this year? I don't remember. No, we don't. No, we do not. I don't think. Yeah, it's just mostly AHL head coaches we need. I mean, we could hire an AHL head coach if we really want to already, but let me just take a look at who's a good fit for the AHL. Yikes. It's hard to tell this early into the off season. Is there anybody with a really good teaching grade? This guy's good in terms of teaching. Might be different at the start of the season though, so we'll probably wait and let the AI decide to sign an AHL coach, and we'll see if he's actually a good fit or not. But we are good to go. Let's see if that goalie accepts, and hopefully he does, because obviously that would help solidify the backup role, and that's the only thing we need to really solidify. I'm going to probably edit the trading block here shortly as well, just so we don't get trade offers this offseason. Hey, an offseason trade, you don't see those happen too often, I feel like. So Philadelphia gets a center named Phaneuf and a third rounder. Vancouver gets 2 seconds and a goalie named Aubrey. Okay. Yeah, you don't see trades happening that early into free agency. And Jean Dagenet has joined the team as our backup. That's great. So now we have our nice little 1-2 punch. Hopefully it's a good enough goaltending tandem. That's the only thing I'm a little bit wary about, is the goalie tandem. The defensive core should be strong enough. And then also the forward group should be pretty good. We should probably try and sign our rest of our RFAs, but I am going to wait a little bit because Kopecky is also going to be a top 6 defenseman. Gustafsson could be a top 4 potentially if he jumps up enough. But we will wait a little bit just to see if those guys drop their asking price a bit. Hopefully they don't get qualified by any teams, because it's kind of annoying when that happens. But let's let's go edit our trading block so that way we aren't getting thrown any stupid offers. And then we could actually simulate up to next season without getting interrupted every single day on random trades that don't really make any sense for our team. So let's just turn all this off as well, just so we don't get a single offer. I mean, we could still probably get offers, I would assume, but I don't really want any offers thrown at me. So we'll remove all of that, and we will also remove all of that. Why does it automatically throw stuff back on my block, though? I don't understand that. It's kind of weird. Alright, so our block should be completely wiped, which it is. Good. Now we shouldn't get any trade offers going forward, which is good. And we should be pretty much ready for the start of the 2042-43 season. It's kind of crazy that we're this close to the end of the series already. I don't know if we're going to be able to get right till the end of the series, just because we're already in September. And the game literally comes out this month, which is kind of insane. So, yeah, I don't know necessarily how much of the series we're going to get left done. But you guys did say to try and wrap up at least Aidan Irving's career. So I think that's at least a goal for us to do. So Tampa tried to offer sheet Calle Holmquist. We are going to easily match that, because Holmquist is going to be joining the team again for sure. Calle Gustafsson also got a 2-year offer at, wow, 1.54. He must be making the NHL, but that means he's going to be a UFA at the end of it. So we are getting a couple of teams that are trying to offer sheet our guys. We're just going to match them all, because we aren't going to let our young prospects go for cheap. So the other one that's only holding out is Bryson Waters, I think, at the moment. Let's see, what is Bryson's asking price now? Since we're into August at this point, we might as well just give him a contract. He still wants a 3-year deal, but to be honest, 2.85 is not really that bad for what he brings. So, you know what, we'll just give him what he's asking for at this stage. Because this, like I said, this could be Aidan Irving's last year of his career, which means this could be the last year of this franchise mode, potentially, if we just decide to go right till the end of his career. Or I might just do this right till the end of NHL 24, and then NHL 25 comes, and then we could get into that. Basically, I'll be probably putting out a poll, though, on which team we're going to do for NHL 25 franchise mode, probably once they have, the franchise feature video. I'll announce it in that or something like that, just because I want you guys to obviously see what's coming in franchise mode first before we make our decision on who we do, because it could impact us greatly. All right, so what do we got to do here in terms of roster moves? Wow, Aidan Irving's a 77. Oof, that's not great. I don't like it when my star players drop off that much. All right. So in terms of our goaltending, Phillips and Lynch in the AHL, Kalinin, Dagenet in NHL, that's good. Defensively in the NHL, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Kopeski's listed as a top 4. How is he a top 4? This is his first season in the NHL. We have a bit too much defenders. And we have 4 left-handeds, 4 right-handers. So, hypothetically, we got to get rid of a defenseman. Fawcett also is a top 4, which I didn't even realize. So, Mike Fawcett is also up here. He's got great passing and offensive stats. Wow. All right. So, And Backer's also listed as top 4. Jeez, everybody's like completely out of their role here. Oh boy, what are we going to do here? That's actually not a good scenario. Well, we will keep them all up here for now, but obviously I'm going to have to make some decisions here accordingly, because all those guys are going to lose morale if they're scratched. 4, 8, and 12. We will call up Cutler as a depth option here. Leclerc should be coming up, technically. Holy crap. We should call up Zajac probably as the other depth forward. Leclerc, I don't want to rush his development too much. Holy crap. Okay. Wow. And Moroz is also listed as a top 6. Same with Clarkson. Holy shit. And then we have Bigris listed as a depth defenseman. So we are a little bit of a logjam on defense, because we got 3 guys listed as top 6. We have a total of 6 guys listed as top 4s. And then 1 top 2. So obviously these 2 would be top 2. These would be top 4. Oh man, maybe I shouldn't have even re-signed Caress and DePenta. But we want to be strong though, kind of too. I think we might get rid of DePenta because Fawcett's an offensive defenseman. DePenta's also one, and Vandermeer's one. So DePenta might be high on my list, but he is also one of our best defensemen, potentially. He's also getting paid a lot. Oh man, this is a really tough decision. Like, do I think Fawcett could outperform DePenta, potentially? Let me see those guys' numbers. Passing is both really good for both guys. Both guys have good offensive awareness, good shooting categories. Fawcett's actually better defensively than DePenta is. And more physical. That'll leave us with our 3 right-handers, but then Backer would be having to play as a left-handed defenseman or something like that. Oh my goodness, I didn't really expect this much of an issue. Alright, so what are we going to do here? Let me just work around our lines, and then maybe I could easier decide on who should be in and who should be out. In terms of our 4 group, that's pretty insane too. Holy shit, man. This team is actually really well built up here again. Was not expecting to be this deep this season. But here we are. We have a lot of guys that might complain about ice time too, which is not an ideal thing. So we have Cutler as a depth forward, which is okay. Defense, what do we got here? That looks good. DePenta and Crest isn't the most insane pairing in the world. If I was to take out Backer, Putt and Fawcett, how does that look? Still -2? Holy shit. Okay, this is really weird. What if I went something like... What if I take Caress out of the lineup? What if we trade Caress? What is that going to do? Not really that much. Wow. This is hard to get our chemistry actually working out here. Holy moly. Wow. Was not expecting us to start the season to have this much of a logjam. Roloff as a top 6 is kind of not great. If I took Roloff out for Crest, that was not working before. Backer doesn't seem to work well either there. Oh boy, I might have to trade away some guys on defense here for sure. I don't want to scratch Crest and Roloff though. Or I don't want to get rid of either of them. Roloff's the best fit for that top 6 pairing. Or he's better for the top pairing. Fawcett, where does he fit the best? The second pairing. DePenta, where does he fit the best? Second pairing technically too. So I think DePenta might be on the outs. Kopetsky, better fit for the second pairing. Gustafsson, second pairing. Gustafsson's not a really good fit here. Take him out for a second here. And let's get DePenta back on his normal side, right side of things. Who's a good fit for the top 6? Nobody really is a good fit on this top 6 pairing. We might actually look for a different coach or try and readjust our coaches or something like that. I do like Backer a lot still, though, as a long-term defenseman, but I don't want to scratch Kress either. I might honestly have to trade Gustafsson before he debuts with us. And then also try and find a new coach. Yeah, I think that honestly could be the play here. That could be the play here. Trade Gustafsson. Backer on the outs, though, is not great either. But he'd have to be somebody because Fawcett's kind of replacing, like, DePenta. But I don't know if we need 3 offensive defensemen. That's where I'm kind of leaning towards getting rid of DePenta. And then Gustafsson could maybe replace DePenta. I don't even know. Let's see, Gustafsson and Fawcett. That looks actually okay. So we could trade away Backer and DePenta potentially on defense. And then we would have to call up Clarkson. I don't want to call up Morose because I don't want to use him as a scratch. We'd probably call up Clarkson, but he's listed as a top 6. Bigger's already being listed as a depth defenseman is kind of weird. Because he's only 25 years old already. Maybe I could call up Bigris as a depth defenseman. I don't know. This is a really weird scenario. So, I guess we trade away Backer and DePenta. Or we could maybe change them into the lineup every 10 games. I don't want to scratch DePenta, really, though. Like, Fawcett is changing up a lot of the complexion of the team. Does Fawcett get power play time? He would. Maybe I should just swap Fawcett and DePenta in and out every few games. I think that's what I'll do to start this episode. Just so I don't have to trade one or the other. Because if I have to trade one of them, it would kind of suck. So let's do that. So we get DePenta in and Fawcett out every 10 games or so. So that's okay for now. Backer's still on the outs though. So even though I just gave Backer a long-term contract, we might have to flip him. Because there's not really much else I could do. I mean, Kress is a pending free agent though. And same with Roloff, I believe, right? It's probably better to take one of those guys and trade them instead. Just because of the fact that they're pending free agents. Backer's already got that locked up deal. Who was more disappointing to me last year? Kress is a 2-way. Let me actually take a look at what type of players we have on defense here. So we got an offensive defenseman. We got a DFD, right? Yeah. OFD, DFD. DFD, 2-way. DFD, offensive. So we got 2 offensive, 3 DFDs, 1 2-way. Probably the best optimization is taking out a DFD for another 2-way. And the only other 2-way we have that's scratched is Kress. But he's a pending free agent. So technically trading Roloff might make more sense than trading away Kress. Based on that. Now the chemistry looks worse, that's the only thing. But that way we have a balanced out defensive core. Because then we have 2 of every defender. I think OFD, 2-way, 2-way, DFD, DFD, OFD. Yeah, that could work. And then, like I said, we swapped DePenta in and out as well for the other offensive defenseman. And when we trade away Roloff. Yeah, I guess that's going to be the play. I didn't think I was going to be trading Roloff already. But I think that has to happen here. I honestly don't know what I'm doing in terms of this defensive core, but we got to make something work. So I think in terms of what we want in return, we'll just probably take back a pick because I honestly don't really know if there's anything else I would bring in via trade. But if I was to trade away Roloff, he has a lot of value, which is awesome. We will send him probably to an Eastern Conference opponent, someone like Boston. Do they have something that they could give me that would be interesting? They don't want to give up their first, but would you give me a first round pick? No, you can't give me a first rounder. It's too much value. What about 2 second round picks for roll off? That might be able to get it done if I add another pick to this deal. We do already have a lot of second rounders coming up this season, which is kind of funny. If I threw in like a 7th round pick into this deal, this should get it done, I think. And then that helps us free up that cap space too. We are just above the cap floor too, so we kind of need to have these high-end players in terms of cap hit, but at the same time we don't. So would this work? Roll off in a 7th for 2 second rounders. Perfect. Okay. So it does suck to trade away roll off considering we just literally brought him in last season, but at the same time, like I said, we kind of need to promote some of our defenders, and they're currently in the AHL, which is not great. So Depenta's already going to probably not be happy that he's in and out of the lineup. He is actually making a ton of money too. So maybe I'll start by having Fawcett out and Depenta starting just because he's getting paid the big bucks. Yeah, that could be an okay thing to do. There's not really a good way of optimizing this defense. I don't like this so much. So yeah, we'll have Fawcett scratch briefly for the first little bit. And we will call up ourselves another depth forward here. Because now we have that roster space available to us. And we will call up Zajac is the other one, I guess. Might as well. Alright, so we should be pretty much ready to go in terms of starting up simulating the season. I like our forward group chemistry. The defense, not so much. So I could try and see if there's a better optimization out there for the coach. So let's take a look at that first here. So Holloway, how good of a coach are you? 62. That's not bad. Do we have any free up spots in terms of coaches? No, it actually signed me literally a coach in every position that I needed. It's kind of surprising. Huh. Okay. I could fire one of the AHL coaches just so I could re-optimize this a bit. I don't know for sure if that would be a good idea. Yeah, I might just keep it the same. I mean, I could check out how good Rizishka fits our team. So yeah, let's fire this goalie coach for the time being. Radoslav Malik, we'll try and bring him back. But let's promote you for a second down there, or demote you, I should say. Rizishka, how good of a fit are you? 60%, that's not good enough. Galvis was our old head coach. 52, oof, yikes, that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Is there anybody in the AHL that would actually be a good head coach in the NHL? 52, no, not a good fit. Brent Burns, probably not either. And Neuwirth, no, probably not. So Holloway's going to be still the head coach. Is there a better head coach out there that's better than 62% team fit? Because maybe that's something we'd look to do. Let's see, better than 62%. Oh, a 66. Radek Lukes, and he's one of the best coaches available. Doesn't want a lot of money. You know what? This guy would actually be probably pretty good to help us out with that. So we'll bring him in as our head coach. Give him a good chunk of money. And we will make the other guy our interim for the time being. So we will make you our interim head coach, Mr. Holloway. And then we're pretty much good to go. So we are going to change up the coach a little bit just because I think that will help out with the chemistry a bit on the defensive side of things, improving that. So let's advance and see if we get that coach in as our head coach. The role is not filled. We have an interim. We have an interim. So maybe I should try and get him in as a different type of coach then and just overpay on him. So we'll do that. So we will go AHL goalie coach and just give him a ton of money. And then he should accept because that's the only freed up spot. So, and then we can promote him afterwards. And Holloway could be probably replacing that 50-something% coach that's on our roster. So we should get that accept soon, I would assume. Unless he just doesn't want to join the organization. He does join. Perfect. So we do get ourselves maybe a new coaching upgrade. So let's go ahead and address this too. So we will change you, Mr. Holloway, down to... Wait, why is it glitched out? Maybe it's because we're already in the preseason. I don't know. We're going to sim to the start of the regular season and then address it, I guess. Or actually, wait a sec. Let me just get to the first game of the preseason. I don't know. Something's glitching out, I think, a little bit here. Delete. Let's see. Can I readdress the coaching staff now? I can't even click on these coaches that much. Yeah, something seems to be a little bit funky right now. I don't know why. Because I can't demote and promote people. Oh, because we have too much coaches. That's right. So I'll have to fire this AHL assistant coach. That's okay for the time being. Now I could do it. I was confused for some reason why it was like that. So let's move Holloway. Or actually, Galvis will go down to the AHL as an assistant coach. Because he's not the best fit in our NHL team. We'll move Holloway to... Actually, Ruzicka to assistant. Holloway to associate. And Luke's will be our new head coach. Yeah, that should be good. Now let's take a look at the chemistry again. And see how good our chemistry is looking. I know it's been a little bit of a juggle to start this episode, but let's see. So offense still looks pretty good. Not as good on the third line as it was before, but that's all right. Defense looks much better. Now we can maybe readjust our defense without having any negative consequences. There we go. Yeah, that's looking much better. Not necessarily the best defensive chemistry, but still it's better than what it was. Let me just check the power play here. I want to make sure Aidan Irving's getting still power play time here, which he currently is not. So let's take Bohms off the power play. Aidan Irving needs to be on a power play unit of some sort. There's just no way he doesn't get put on the power play. And yeah, the rest of that should be good. He's not going to have as much ice time as like he did in the past, but still should get some okay ice time. We need to put him on the PK as well. I'll probably put him in over... I guess Marsh can take face-offs technically, so we'll put Aidan Irving on with the franchise guy. Just as like a nice little mentorship type of scenario. Perfect. Alright, so our lines are addressed. Let's take a look at the captains here briefly too, just because Saturn Otaku wanted me to take a look and see if Backer was an alternate or not. So Ekholm is listed as an alternate, and Vandermeer is the other one, which is pretty much what I was going to go to, not Backer, so I don't mind that. I do not mind that. So there is our team for the start of the 2042-43 season. I think we're finally ready to get to the regular season and see what this team is all about. I don't know how much we're going to simulate of this season in this episode, but I will simulate maybe a good chunk, maybe like 20 to 30 games. But this team should be pretty good, hypothetically, with the new coach making us better. And then hopefully also our team being strong defensively and all that, because it's pretty balanced. It does suck that we got rid of Roloff, but I think it was something that we kind of had to do if we wanted to keep Backer. Maybe I could have got rid of Backer, but I just didn't feel like it was necessary. So 5-1-1 in the preseason. Ekholm led with 10 points in 7 games. Damn, he's going to have a great year, I think, ahead. Curious on how good Aidan Irving did in his potential last preseason. He had 4 goals and 2 assists in 7 games, so it looks like he could still have a breakout year despite being 36 years old. His potential is now exact AHL top 6, which is kind of crazy. So I'd assume this is definitely going to be his last year, and I'm assuming he would drop down as the season progresses. But for the first 10 games of the season, we'll go with DePenta in. Then the next 10, we will go with Fawcett, and we're going to alternate between the two of them. And then we're going to make a decision probably this season to trade one of them away. That's probably what I'm leaning towards. I would probably lean towards trading away Depensa just because he's a pending free agent and we might lose him for nothing anyways. But we're going to have to make some decisions this year probably as the season goes on. So 7, 8, 9. So after this game against Columbus is going to be the 10th game of the season. So let's go to the 31st and see how we do in the first month of action. We should be a good enough team. We should be. Unless for some reason the goaltending just doesn't hold up. That's the one thing I'm a little bit weary about, like I said. But so far we have won every single game this season. We have not lost a game in our first 6 games, and then we lose to Calgary 7-2. So that's quite a bad way to lose our first game of the year. But in our first 9 games, we are 7-2. So very good start for this team. Even losing Bearable, or not Bearable, what's his name? I was saying Bearable because of the goaltender prospect, but losing Roloff. Game against Columbus is our last game of this top 10 games, and we'll take out DePenta and put in Fawcett 8-2 in our first 10 games of the season. And Blundin's leading away with 13 points through 10 games. Love to see it. Who's a pending free agent at the end of this year? That's one thing I wanted to take a look at. Bulbrook's the big one. And Bickle and Kress. Oh boy. We're going to have to spend a lot of money this offseason. Wow. Alright. Didn't expect that much guys to be pending free agents. So, yeah, this offseason ahead is a little bit of a scary one. So, hopefully we can win another cup. Let's go to... Where are we going to take a look at? Oh, yeah, we're going to take a look at what DePenta did in the first 10 games of the season. And then we'd have to take him out and put Fawcett in. Or we could take somebody else out, maybe. But let's take a look at DePenta. 6 points in 10 games, but a -2. So we'll take him out for the time being. And I will get Fawcett in. And Fawcett will get moved to the top 6 pairing just because of the fact he's a right-handed D-man, I think. Or I could play him next to backer. You know what? That might be actually okay, playing him on his offside. We'll do that. We'll do that. So Fawcett is now into the lineup, so we'll see how Fawcett does in his first 10 games. But we might have to make a decision rather soon on who we trade away of those two guys. I don't know. I really like how DePenta played offensively in those 10 games, but him being a -2 is not great. Fawcett should be better defensively. So 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and after this Colorado game is number 20, so... Let's take a look and see how Fawcett does in this stretch. 8-1 loss to Seattle. So we've had some pretty bad losses despite winning a lot of games this season so far. Like, a lot of our losses that we've had have been blowout losses. That's okay. That's okay. So 13-6-1, so we did fall off a little bit with Fawcett being put into the lineup. Ekholm's now leading with 23 points in 20 games. He only has 5 goals, but he's got 18 assists, so he's been great in the passing department. We're currently one of the best teams in the league at the moment as well. Alright, let's take a look at how Fawcett did in that first 20 games of his NHL career. Hopefully he did decent, because that would be nice. 3 assists, but a +5. Yeah, he's much better defensively than DePenta. Not as good on the offensive department. He did have 13 shots, but has not scored a goal yet. So that's a little bit interesting. Would we rather go for somebody that's going to allow more goals against, or somebody that's going to help out more in terms of offense? Let's get DePenta back in that spot. We're just going to keep alternating the two of them. We could do that the entire season if we really want to, but with DePenta being a pending free agent, I think he's going to overperform, and he's going to want a lot of money in the offseason. He's going to do what like Jordan Goddard did when he was a part of our team. Okay, I think we're going to go through another... We could go to game 40. That way we could get a little bit of a say on each player. So 20 games for each of them. So we got 3 games there. We got 6 games, 9 games. And after this Montreal game would be game 30. So let's go through those games as well. See how DePenta does back in the lineup again. Hopefully we're keeping both those guys kind of happy. We are starting to lose a little bit more games than I'd like to as of late. Which is not really good for our standing spot. But... we shouldn't be bad for a long time. But we definitely are having our struggles a little bit. 17-9-4, okay, we definitely found ourselves again. We are still second place in the division, only behind the Minnesota Wild at the moment, who I believe won a Stanley Cup recently. Ekholm's still well over point per game, almost an assist per game, only 9 goals, but still he's been fantastic so far to lead the team. Let's take a look at how DePenta's been now in his first 20 games of the season, considering he's missed 10 of them. Wow, 17 points. Whew. He's definitely making an argument to stay in the lineup the entire time, because his offense is definitely a lot better. I could trade Kopecky, hypothetically, and then we could keep Fawcett, but I want to have a balanced defensive approach with offensive defensemen, two-ways, and DFDs. So we'll take DePenta back out, but this could be Fawcett's last 10 games with us. I might honestly have to think about trading away Fawcett, or we just keep both of them. Like I said, and then one of them could play a bit more in the playoffs than the other one, if we get there. So we're going to do 10 more games, and then we'll take a look at everybody's player stats and see what's going on with this team. But I think we're doing relatively well. It's just really tough to decide on who should stay on the team and who shouldn't be. So 4 games, 6 games, and then this game after San Jose would be game 40. So almost halfway through the season at this point, but we'll see which players should actually stay on the roster. Back-to-back losses, actually 3 straight losses, 4 straight losses, and then we win over Colorado. So yeah, this team is definitely still a little bit on the streaky side. We did have a great start to the year, but we are going on losing streaks, and then we go on winning streaks like that to end the week. 23, 12, and 5. Okay. Really, really weird season this team has had so far. Ekholm up to 50 points in 40 games, so he's on pace for a 100-point season, which would be awesome if he could do that. Let's take a look at our player stats at this point in the season. We'll also take a look at the standing stuff here briefly. So if we go to entire league, where are we in the entire league at the moment? 7th. We don't necessarily need to be the best team in the NHL anymore, winning President's trophies, but we're only 4 points back of potentially being in that conversation. In terms of offense, we are not in the top 10. We're just outside of it. Goals against per game, we are also not in the top 10. All right. So offense and defense is kind of mid. Power play percentage, we are also outside of the top 10. Huh. And in penalty kill has been kind of mid-table as well, I guess. Yeah, see, we're literally outside of the top 10 in everything, but we are the 7th best team in the NHL. We have been very mid on home ice, but we've been very good on the road. Huh. That's kind of weird that we're a mid team at this stage, but maybe that's a good thing, because maybe that means the longer playoff run's ahead for us. In terms of player stats, Ekholm's got the 50 points. He's been fantastic. Bickle's on 38 points. He's still playing pretty good, despite being 33 years old now. Calle Holmquist is on 20 points. He's actually been pretty good. -6, not so much. Bernarski on 9 points, -5. He hasn't been great either, but he's definitely been the worst of the centers. Left wing side of things, Blunden on 37 points, 23 goals already for Blunden. He's definitely not having as good of a year as last year, but he's definitely on pace still to have a 40-goal season again, which is nice, so he's still having good years. Marsh is on 37 points, already 21 goals for the youngster. He is on pace for a worse season than last year, actually. That's kind of weird. Hopefully he has a good playoffs ahead then. Harrison on 15 points. He's been okay. -7 is not great. Bohms has no goals in 40 games, but he has 13 assists, and he's -11. So a couple guys on the bottom 6 are kind of struggling to keep the puck out in the net a bit. Right wing side of things, Bulbrook on 41 points. He is a pending free agent, so he's trying to get paid. He's probably going to leave the team this season, my guess. 22 goals. Kavusari only has 1 goal in 40 games, but he's got 28 points. He's also kind of dropped off a bit in production, because last year was a 90-point season. So, it's not bad of a contract at least, but some of these guys are definitely not doing as good as expected. Waters on 10 goals, 16 points. Aidan Irving's dropped down to 14 points in 40 games, down to a 76 overall. Well, his career is definitely ending this season. He's hit over 1,300 points at least, but he's not going to hit 800 goals in his career. Jeez. Yeah, he's only on pace for like maybe 15 goals, maybe 16, somewhere around that. But poor guy has literally probably taken his last time in the NHL. Probably he should be a scratch, but I'm going to keep him in the lineup because he's Aidan Irving. Defensively, Vandermeer's been good, 33 points. DePenta on 17 and 20. Probably should be in the lineup for most of the rest of the season. Kress has been very good. Good defensively. Gustafson, not too bad. 7 points +2. Fawcett, 5 points +5. He's been good when he's played. Backer, 5 assists +5. And then Kopecky, 3 points -2. So if you guys were going to trade between Fawcett and DePenta, who would you do? Because DePenta, he's great right now, but he's a pending free agent. He's going to get paid big bucks in the offseason. Meanwhile, Fawcett seems like the better defensive option as an offensive defenseman. Or do we go with trading away somebody else? Like, do we trade away Gustafson? Do we trade away Kopecky? Because Kopecky is a top 4 technically. Or do we trade away Backer? Like, we got to make a decision probably on the defensive side of things, because some of these guys should be in the NHL right now. Like, Harvey Moreau should be probably in the NHL this season. There's also, I believe, a couple of these other guys should be getting close. Like, Bigris is technically a depth defenseman. We also do technically have Clarkson, who's an NHL defenseman, even though he's an enforcer. So we got to make some decisions on the defense probably. And in goaltending, Kalinan's got a 903, and same with Dagenet. So they've both been kind of average. All right. Let's take a look at around the league as well for fun. Finisenkov in Calgary leading with 63 points. Sanderson up there. Wow, Calgary's doing good this year. All right. Who is leading the league in goal scoring this season? Orlando Mickelson. 36 goals already. Damn. Defense, what do we got? Glebov. Jordan Goddard back in New Jersey again. Wow. And Vandermeer right behind him, too. That's kind of funny seeing Goddard and Vandermeer up there. Huh. Wow. I kind of miss Jordan Goddard, but at the same time, he's probably getting paid a lot, right? Oh, yeah, the 16.89. That's insane. That's insane. Goalies. New Jersey's goalie is number 1. Okay. All right. LeBlanc again. Why do I remember Mark LeBlanc? From Anaheim. I don't know if it was from Anaheim or not. I do recognize this guy's name for some reason. Yeah, it looks like Philadelphia's having a really good defensive season. Also New Jersey too. Okay. Best rookie so far this season. Benjamin McKay in Tampa. All right. So there is all of that. I don't really know if this team needs to make any adjustments going forward. Like, I know we've been kind of a mid-team, but like I said, I think it could help us out in terms of the actual playoff run. But we are going to take a look at the trading block just to see what's out there in case there's something that could help us out. I don't want to go to our trading block. But let's just see if there's anything that we could potentially bring in that could help our team out going forward. I guess we should probably trade something on our defensive core, my guess, to rework it a little bit. But is there anything that actually makes sense? So Caleb Raffles now in Buffalo. Damn, that guy is moved on from Arizona, I think it was that he was on. Yeah. Oof, he's getting paid some good term too, but he's also had a rough year in Buffalo. Primo, Ray, I don't need defenders. I just need to get rid of some of my defensemen maybe. But I don't really know what for. Because at this stage, we're trying to win. Wow, Luke Mies is still getting paid a lot of money for one more year, but he is probably retiring at the end of the year. Our former amazing player. Hasn't played much in the playoffs since leaving us. He did play a good year in Columbus in 2038, but damn. Logan Scarlett's also there. It's always like the graveyard of our former players on the trading block. Okay, and Colorado's got pretty much nothing I would probably bring in. Sorry if you could hear any lawnmowers and stuff in the background. Kwong is a depth defenseman. Yeah, there's not really too much right now on the trading block that I'm super interested in. But there is stuff that we could try and change up on our team if we want. But like I said, being mid might be good. Might be good. Anything else interesting? Montreal, still a Certe who's in the AHL, we know. Nothing in Nashville, nothing New Jersey. Islanders have some defenders. A lot of teams have defensemen on the block, but we don't need them. And then the forwards are getting overpaid a lot. This Carlotti guy's on a pretty good contract, though, for 1 year. And he's also playing very good. 36 points in 39 games on a non-playoff team, probably. Huh. Wow, okay, that guy's actually kind of intriguing, but I don't think he's in an area we need too much. Like, he'd basically be replacing Bickle, which is not something I want. But, yeah, like, I don't think our forwards need much of an upgrade. And I don't think our defense needs much of a change either. But if we want to trade away DePenta, maybe it'd be 4 picks or something like that if we end up doing that. Wow. Yeah, I might just keep on doing what I'm doing with the defense and alternating every 10 games at this stage. Even if we lose DePenta for free, there's not really anything that's really that interesting. Like, Vancouver doesn't have too much prospects that are interesting to me. Vegas only has Gaudette, who's just a depth goaltender pretty much. Washington doesn't have anything either. Yeah, there's not really anything I would probably trade for personally. So we might honestly just keep alternating on our defensive core to help things out a little bit. And then we might have to let a lot of people go in the offseason. Because like I said, the contract situation, if we go to all expiring, if we look at our team, we might lose Kalin in this offseason, Dagenet. Defensively, we could lose Crest, DePenta, Kopeski's pending RFA, so at least he should come back. Clarkson will leave probably. Bigris might be a depth defenseman. Quint is an RFA. And then forwards, we have Bulbrook, who we might lose. We might lose nobody on the left side of things because they're all RFAs, so at least that's helpful. But then we also have Bickle, who's a UFA. We have Holmquist, who's an RFA again. Vernarski's an RFA again. So at least we have a bunch of RFAs, but Bickle and Bulbrook, those are guys who are going to be pretty pricey. Like, Bickle's trying to get over 11 million at his age. And what is Bulbrook trying to get, out of curiosity? 12 million, yeah. So those two guys, there's a chance that both of them might not come back. Or we take a big hit on the defensive side of things. I don't even know. So there's that, and I think that's almost it. The final thing of things, let me actually look at the draft class briefly. I just want to see if there's any good players that we know about so far here. Ooh, a franchise defenseman supposed to go first overall. That's kind of interesting. We already have a franchise forward. Huh, alright. We do have a lot of second round picks, but we only have our own first rounder. But that's interesting. I don't think I've seen a franchise defenseman in quite some time. Alright, any guys for other rounds that we could pin already? Like low-leats, because I'd like myself some low-leats. Not that it matters too much at this stage. Roger Kidd's a low-leat sniper. Alright, we'll pin him. Ethan Dillman might be a low-leat, but not sure on that. There could be some low-leats in this draft class ahead. There could be. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll probably simulate the rest of the regular season. We might make some trades depending on what you guys think with our defensive situation, because right now we could pretty much just alternate players in and out of the lineup just to try and keep them as happy as possible. But also, if we do that, then we're walking DePentis straight to free agency, basically, because he might ask for like $15 million, and we got to prioritize like somebody like Bickle instead. So we do have some tough decisions if we do want to make trades, but at the same time, this team looks like they should be making it back to the playoffs, but kind of in a more midway, which might actually help us in a good playoff run. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.